So guys, 2023 Heisman picks. Gonzo, we are each going to pick 3 players who we think are going to be in consideration to win the Heisman. Top 3. Who do you have winning the Heisman this year?
Okay, so for the Heisman, I kept it all quarterback because, outside of what Devonta Smith did, it has predominantly been a quarterback award in recent years. So I want to look like a homer with Jaden Daniels, and if people want to say that, that's absolutely fine. But I just think, given that, he was highly touted coming out of high school, he's got a second year with continuity of coordinators with Brian Kelly and Mike Denbrock. He's got guys like Malik Neighbors to throw the ball to, as well as a loaded tight end room, headlined by Mason Taylor, and an offensive line that's returning as well, and the ability to make plays with his legs. I could just really see Jaden Daniels taking that leap in his second year. I'm not saying he's Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow came to LSU, and in his second year, it was a takeoff to immortality. So I just think that Jaden Daniels definitely has that potential. I've alluded to this in other videos. I think Cade Klubnik, if everything goes right with Garrett Riley and he lives up to that 5-star billing and he lights up the ACC, I think he can finally bring the Heisman hardware back. I don't even think Trevor Lawrence won the Heisman. I think it's on, or Deshaun Watson. Actually, they have not had a Heisman winner, at least that I can think of. I don't know if ever, actually. So Cade Klubnik, of all people, could be Clemson's first Heisman winner. Under the tutelage of Garrett Riley. I cannot stress that enough. And then a guy who probably should actually be 2. I think Michael Penix, the toys that he has to play with. Let me just say this. Rome Odunze is on the Biletnikoff watch list. Jalen McMillan's on the Biletnikoff watch list. His tight end Devin Culp is on the Mackey watch list. That offense is going to be so much fun.
Don't forget Jalen Polk too.
Yes, and Jalen Polk as well. Yes. So he's just got, I hate to make this comp, but it's like a Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson light, potentially, with the, McMillan and Odunze, and Polk, I guess, could be the Terrace Marshall. But I think Penix is absolutely going to light it up and will be the reason why, for some of us, Washington will win the conference. So those are my 3, all quarterbacks, maybe kind of chalk, but that's how I see it playing out.
If you've been following along here, our Heisman picks definitely sort of correlate with who we have going deep this year and competing for national championships. And if Clemson does make it to the national championship, that probably means Cade Klubnik is one of the best QBs in the country. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I am a little surprised that you didn't have Caleb Williams on the board here, but I do like your picks. Caleb Williams I have as my Heisman winner. The reigning Heisman winner, I think, will win back-to-back. Caleb Williams is definitely the most talented player in college football. Like, in terms of just raw talent and ability, he is the best player in college football. I think he should be the number 1 pick in the draft. And you want to talk about toys, like Michael Penix has toys, and that's why I have Penix at number 3. I have Jaden Daniels at number 2. Well, Caleb Williams also got toys, and he's got the talent too. That's just a recipe for me to be a back-to-back Heisman winner. But I do think he has some stiff competition here. You got Jaden Daniels at number 2. Again, I'm very high on LSU just as a whole here, and I think Jaden Daniels can take that leap forward this year and have an amazing season. And if LSU accomplishes what I think it will accomplish this year, that obviously is going to give Jaden Daniels a lot of cred, and I think that he will be on the stage here in New York at the end of the year. Let's not forget, a lot of the Heisman, contenders is basically tied into who's having a great season, who's getting a lot of publicity. This isn't, it's never been who's the best player. It's always who's the most popular player a lot of times.
That's why Drake May is not on there.
Exactly. And I would love to throw Drake May on here too, but I just don't think UNC is going to be in national title contention at all. I don't even know if they're going to be in ACC contention, if I'm going to be frank. But Jaden Daniels, I think, is going to have a phenomenal year. And then Michael Penix. I mean, this is a Washington podcast, guys. We're all big on the Huskies this year. We're all big on Michael Penix. I think, like you said, just by virtue of having the great wide receivers around him, an improved offensive line, a great coaching staff, I think Washington will win the Pac-12. If they have that season, Penix is going to get some notoriety, and he will be on the stage here in New York at the end of the year. I don't think he's going to win it, but his name will definitely be on that short list.
My number 1, and this is why I have USC making the playoffs, guys. It's Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams factor. I think he's a generational talent. I think when he inevitably goes number 1 in the NFL draft, he's going to be a top 5 QB. I haven't felt this strongly about a QB going in since Joe Burrow. And honestly, we've seen what Joe Burrow can do when he's healthy. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL when he's healthy. But yeah, I think Caleb Williams will fall right into that. He'll end up being one of the best quarterbacks in all the NFL in just a few years. Hopefully he doesn't end up in a toxic situation. But if that's not the case, I think he's going to be just Hall of Famer. Michael Penix, all the toys he has, Kalen DeBoer, a born winner, the Washington Huskies program, getting a little bit better on defense too. I really like that team this year. And then I'm throwing in a running back here for love, man. You got to give the running back some love. There's usually at least one guy who stands out. And last year, Blake Corum was in that conversation. I think Blake Corum will be in the conversation again. Michigan has an elite offensive line, and they're a very run-heavy team. I really like Blake Corum. Donovan Edwards is another supplement in there who could potentially take away some production. But other than that, man, I really think it's a 1A, 1B race here between Williams and Penix. That's what I think it's going to come down to.
Hey, kudos to you for throwing in a running back because, you know, in this day and age, it's really hard to see a non-quarterback winning the Heisman, but it still is possible out there. But man, you gotta have one of those, you know, the Dominic Sue's type seasons. I know he's a defensive player, but you know, you got to be having one of those like avatar years if you're a non-quarterback these days.
You got to be Devonta Smith. Like what he did, the fact that he beat his own quarterback for the Heisman in 2020, I'm still in shock.
Yeah. All right. Well, gentlemen, great job on the Heisman picks today.